Joining us now is Hussam Ayloush. She's the executive director for CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining us. You spoke with, of course, you spoke with the brother-in-law just last night, and we heard from them, we've heard from their attorneys that they can't make sense of the facts as they're laid out. So what did he tell you? How are they making sense of it then?
They're not. They're completely shocked. They're completely shaken by what happened. It completely took them by surprise because there were no signs, no warnings that Saeed Farouk and his wife were taking that path. There's absolutely no warnings for them. They acted normally. It seems like either they had a double life or they were really good at hiding their what seems to be their new ideology or their intentions.
You said taking that path. We're getting more of a sense of what that path might have been. The breaking news this morning, we're hearing that the female attacker, Tashfeen Malik, pledged allegiance to ISIS as the attack was underway. Now, officials tell us there were indications they believe that this couple was somehow self-radicalized. Maybe there have been social media connections over time. How do we as a society, and I'm not just talking about Muslim Americans, but how do we as a society fight back on this ideology that does seem attractive to enough people to cause so much death?
I mean, regardless whether the reports are true or not, I haven't seen any confirmation. I did watch it on CNN, and if it is true, that is really alarming, really concerning. But again, this is like joining a cult, joining a gang. People have different reasons for which they are vulnerable to the appeal of such gangs. Normal people do not attract these gangs, do not get attracted to these gangs. On a daily basis, hundreds of millions of people are subjected to the propaganda of ISIS and others, and we don't flip. There's some weakness within that person that makes them susceptible to such gangs.
I think what's so scary this time is, though, by all accounts, the accounts of the family, the accounts of people who knew this couple in the community, they did seem like normal people.
And that's the thing. I mean, we have heard, we often do hear that it seems that if you do call them terrorists, if it comes to that, the terrorist families are often the last to know that they have been radicalized. But that is often the most surprising question for kind of any right-minded human being is how does someone go about living this double life or really good at hiding it, as you said? I mean, how as a society do we go about making sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, honestly, there are no scientific indicators that could predict when a person snaps, whether joining a terrorist group or a cult. Sometimes they're obvious. I think the more cunning ones, they're able to hide this. But if anything, this is a reminder for all of us that there is a problem called ISIS. There is a psychotic person named Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi who runs ISIS or Daesh, and it needs to be addressed. And there are people addressing this. There are people in Syria as we speak today who are fighting, while fighting the barbarism of Assad regime, who are actually fighting ISIS, the Syrian people. We cannot sit and watch and complain about what can we do about Daesh or ISIS. We need to support those who are picking up the fight with Daesh. We need to fight it intellectually, spiritually, but even on the ground, militarily.
How do you fight that fight here? Because that fight does appear to be in the United States now.
Well, I mean, fortunately, let's put things in perspective. If this case is true, it would be one of a handful of cases. Out of 6 million American Muslims, I'm not worried about it. There's no appeal for ISIS and its destructive ideology within the American Muslim community, because American Muslims
the federal government is
are
concerned about it. The
crime.
FBI is concerned about it. The CIA, our intelligence officials are concerned about it.
And it is their job to be concerned, because one case is too many. There's no doubt about it. One case is too many. But I'm putting things in the whole perspective of things. For the American Muslim community who are active, who are aware of their community, their children, their mosque, their imams, we know that the ideology of ISIS has no place within the American Muslim community. That's why, if the reports are true of Farouk and his wife being influenced by ISIS, they would have done that outside of the Muslim community. They had to isolate themselves from their families. from the Muslim community in order to hide that, because there's no acceptance for such behavior or such ideology.
You know, Hussam, Ayloush, thank you so much for being with us, because as you say, you know, one case is too much, as we all know.
We'll have to see if that isolation occurred. That's why things don't add up. The family's attorney even said they were a close-knit family. So hard to believe.